I love He-Man. I've always loved He-Man, ever since I was a little kid. He-Man was one of the first toys I ever had, and clearly one of the ones I still love. So I thought, let's look at the one time He-Man actually came to the theaters. Okay, the better time. If that. So what is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, in case you somehow don't know about it? Well, basically, imagine Conan the Barbarian mixed with Flash Gordon. That sums it up with just a hint of Superman, because Adam here uses his magic sword and becomes He-Man, the most powerful man in the world, and fights against Skeletor. By the way, Skeletor is hands down the best part of this show.
Don't you get awfully tired of being a hero all the time?
The year was 1985, and for the first time, the He-Man cartoon I loved was coming to the theaters. He-Man and She-Ra, The Secret of the Sword. And I couldn't afford to go see it, but soon enough it was on TV anyway because, well, we'll discuss that in detail. But for now, this is the first part of the autumn of the 80s. This is, what do we call this? 8OS TOI, I guess. He-Man and She-Ra, Secret of the Sword.
It's the 80s. Do a lot of coke and vote for Ronald Reagan.
Somewhere out there someone needs me. I don't know how or where, but believe me.
Guess the decade! And for these movies, it's pretty safe to say it's going to be the 80s.
For the honor of love.
And oh lord, is it the 80s right now. The episode begins with the sorceress having a dream, which is actually flashback memories.
You may have defeated us, but you'll never see this child again.
Adora!
Wait, why is she wearing her bird hat in bed?
Well, don't you wear yours to bed? Yeah, off-screen Kim always wears a bird hat, just like this. It's the thing they do. That's a big one today.
The sword! Can it be? After so long.
Then she basically calls Adam to come join in for the first act of the movie.
Adam, what's wrong?
I'm having another one of those darn poultry woman headaches, Cringer.
I hate those things.
I'll be there right away.
This door has never opened before.
It's the never-before-used theatrical release chamber.
And you want me to pass through it and find someone in the world it leads to?
That's the movie's premise, kid. There's no use trying to fight it.
But you can't tell me who this person is, huh?
Hold out your hands. This sword shall lead you to the one you seek.
She shows Adam another sword, this one with a jewel in it, but otherwise identical to his power sword, from which Adam gets all his powers, and just sends him off to the other world. And they end up in Pink Tribolonia? Okay. They go to a nearby village and into the pub, because that's the first place you always go in a fantasy story.
Oh, look, there's a sign. Criminals welcome.
You think he's a spy for the Horde, Cole?
It seems quite unlikely, though. The only time a horseman ever smiles is when he's doing something awful for someone.
Welcome to the Laughing Swan, stranger. How may we serve you today?
How about a little chow?
Your animal, he speaks?
So the barkeep is freaked out when he hears Cringer talk, but right behind him, there's a weird rainbow owl thing whispering in the cloaked guy's ear, and no one seems to think that's strange. So do animals talk in this world or not?
I don't know, but can we get it off this still, please?
Oh, boy, fish! Thank you.
Oh gosh! Oh, that is nightmarish.
That's horrific.
Oh.
It's already got a bite out of it. They gave it to him with a bite already taken out of it.
And some soldiers with unknown bat logos start harassing all the people in the pub, and Adam, being a hero, steps up.
A man of courage. Hey, good thing Tila taught me that move.
He gets an assist from the guy in the cloak, who will later find out is named Bo.
Because he has a... Oh, we're so creative here.
Well, his name was Bo. He had a rifle and a shady past. Probably a drinking problem, we're not really sure, but he was Bo.
You better come with us, Adam. They'll be after you, too. Where are we going? Whispering Woods, of course.
Quick, we have Lannisters to ambush.
Meanwhile, in Techno Mordor, it looks like, the main villain of this world, whose name is Hordak, hears about all this. And he calls for Force Captain Adora. Meanwhile, oh god, oh. Okay, I know that there's like a running joke about the gayness of He-Man, but stop it, you two, stop! Seriously, has there ever been a gayer moment in He-Man than this?
I feel the bony finger of Skeletor, don't you, Battle Cat?
So, Adam meets the great powerful rebel leader, whose name is Glimmer.
Bo, where have you been? Oh.
And who talks with this voice.
Taught some horsemen a lesson, huh? See what you've done?
Yeah, that's the kind of voice that'll inspire you to die for the rebellion. Yeah. I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me, but it is not this day.
Madam's coming! Madam's coming! Madam, come on!
Ladies and gentlemen, meet Madame Raz, the only member of this rebellion who actually has some degree of personality.
Oh, we must work on these landings.
She's basically Orko in drag.
That's it! The Horde has placed the entire village of Famor under arrest.
It's a totally wacky mass arrest and forced relocation to a death camp.
The Horde demands the culprits give themselves up. Otherwise, they'll send the whole village to the mines as slaves.
Well, hold on. There must be a way to save the village without giving in.
Are you people even rebels? Isn't that your raison d'etre is fighting against the enemy?
Are you worried about breaking the law here?
I'm afraid we're no match for them, no.
I have a friend who might be of some help.
Well, if we're really going to be the Great Rebellion, I guess we have to start somewhere. And we're with you, Glimmer. We're not afraid of the Horde. All right, then. Let's save Famor. It's a Horde slave transport.
After Adam convinces the rebellion to rebel, they go off to do it. So the animators mash their action figures together and then call it a battle. So Adam finally steps aside and manages to turn himself into He-Man. You know, he's got to be secret with it, which is why he's shouting and creating lightning at full power.
Stop him, Montana!
The beam's destroying my sense of balance. I can't stand.
The rubber bands in my hip joints have loosened over time.
Take this, bugface!
Oh dear God, it's like an army that's 78% Jar Jar Binks. So He-Man faces off against Force Captain Adora, who's shockingly normal looking compared to all of Hordak's other leaders and generals and monsters.
Well, of course she's going to be the one to turn to the good side. She's the least hideous.
He-Man lost his power sword in the fight, so he has to use the other sword he was given. It responds to her presence, and it turns out she was the one he was sent here to find. And since He-Man knows this, he decides not to fight, and so Force Captain Adora takes him prisoner.
You're mine now, stranger. You and this curious sword. Beast Island? Why would the Horde take captives to that terrible place?
I've heard rumors that they have a prison there.
Yeah, that's why they took a prisoner there. It's a freaking prison.
So Ron Weasley magics up a giant pirate ship for their next set piece.
Naturally.
Back in the prison, Adora and He-Man talk, and it turns out she sees herself as lawful good, serving the noble righteous Horde, which is also known as the evil Horde.
Yeah, that's their actual name.
You can't believe that. Haven't you seen how the Horde treats people?
Well, I've spent most of my life training in the Fright Zone.
Yes, I trained to serve justice and honor at the Fright Zone. So He-Man dares her to go out and see the world for herself without anyone showing her what to look at. Meanwhile, as the rebels are flying in their magic ship, Hordak goes in his other well-branded ship, this is full-on Dr. Evil stuff, and shoots them down.
We're going to crash. Somebody do something.
My boat.
The rebels are now shot down on Beast Island. Trademark. And much like brilliant Bav Morda, Hordak insists that Adora is still loyal to him and will never turn.
I trust her loyalty more than I trust yours.
So long as she never meets a cute boy, we're fine.
One weenie action scene later, and so Adora takes up He-Man's dare and goes out undercover to see the world for herself and sees the Horde mistreating people. Meanwhile, the rebels reach the prison and have some editorially mandated action scenes. This is actually going to be a problem repeatedly, is throwing in action scenes that really don't fit and kind of break up the real story going on with the character stuff.
Look, it's him!
Shall I have the rebel dogs taken to a cell, mighty one?
Yeah, an uncomfortable one.
And not a luxury suite like you were going to.
Might I be of some assistance?
Cal, however, the little weird rainbow owl British butler thing, managed to escape capture and then comes and frees He-Man after all the other rebels have been locked up. Then He-Man goes and frees everyone who just got locked up for him.
This is what we call a plot cul-de-sac.
Loop-de-loop, nothing has changed. And now they have a chase scene.
He-Man, come on!
Take off and wait for me outside. I have one more little job to do.
And Hordak sees that they're getting away and decides to let them go. He must have some dastardly plan.
We'll have another chance, I'm sure.
As you wish.
No, he just wants to go home. Night court's on and I don't want to miss it.
Well, that's one prison the Horde will have to do without. Now let's get back to Whispering Woods. There's a certain someone I have to find.
Rob Stark is waiting for us.
Adora returns, having seen what the world is really like under the Horde's thumb, and stupidly confronts Hordak as if she's going to shame him into acting right. And we find out she's been hypnotized all this time and brainwashed with spells, and Shadow Weaver re-hypnotizes her. Later, Hordak shows off his super weapon, which, well, you explain it, Hordak.
You sent it to the Valley of the Lost.
Oh, exactly. No one has ever returned from the Valley of the Lost. And with this Magna Beam, I shall at last rid myself of those pests who call themselves rebels.
Oh, and by the way, Adora's back in this group.
Here in the Plunder Room is the energy source for the Magna Ray. The ray uses the energy of willpower.
So basically, it's a wish him into the cornfield super weapon. And it works off stolen willpower from the prisoners that they drain in the little torture chamber. It's a little cheesy, but I'll admit, it's an intriguing and kind of horrific idea for a G-rated show like this.
What happens to the prisoners afterward?
They make excellent servants for Horde generals. Don't they, slave?
Yes, master.
And Adam plans to go do things to the Horde. He doesn't really specify, he's just going off to have action.
Besides, one man is less noticeable than two.
One man in his neon pink and purple outfit.
No one will see you coming. He transforms into He-Man and pulls a Luke Skywalker / Indiana Jones and steals a guard's uniform. And amazingly, against all the tropes and cliches, Shadow Weaver is immediately able to spot that he's an imposter. I'll grant them that for the subversion.
I'll have him stopped once and for all.
Let us not be so hasty.
This might bark.
If we capture him, he will supply the Magna Beam with all the energy it needs.
How they can tell from that tiny tuft of hair that it's actually He-Man is kind of baffling. Are there no other blondes in this world?
Well, I've made it into Doom Tower. So far, so good. But finding Force Captain Adora in a place this size is not going to be easy. Wait a minute.
But he doesn't realize that she's been re-brainwashed, and so she captures him.
We're stuck in a Mobius strip of a movie.